warm welcome to New Science Hub. Today we are celebrating National Science Day. On this occasion, we are having a panel discussion on the topic Challenges in Science for a Developed India. Today, we have a panel members in a discussion, Dr. Mangesh Y Dudhe, Mr. B Kaginalli, Mr. Madhu Sundar, MS, Mr. Raju Marella. Now, we will have a small introduction of each and every the panel member for this particular discussion. Dr. Mangesh Y Dudhe works as a senior scientist at ICAR-IIOR, Hyderabad, has involved in sunflower genetic resource management and sunflower breeding since last 1 decade. We welcome, sir. Mr. B Kaginalli, Managing Director of Gamma Agro Medical Processing Private Limited, and has 30 years of experience in peaceful uses of atomic energy. Now we welcome again Madhu Sundar, sir. Madhu Sundar, MS, he is heading Global Manufacturing FTO at Dr. Reddys Laboratories since 27 years of experience. Now we welcome again Raju Marella, over 25 years of Sartorius, a founder member of this particular group in India, a life science graduate with a master's in business administration. A very warm welcome to you all, sir. Thank you so much. Today we are celebrating National Science Day, and it's a great day for us because we are in the science field. And I would like to ask one question, sir, because there are so many challenges are there for us. What is the current state of science in your field? What do you predict it will be tomorrow, doctor?
Yeah, it's a well question. I would appreciate that to say I am a man of agriculture, and agriculture started with the civilization process itself. But the advances in agriculture came from the birth of Mendel, the father of genetics, and from 18th century onward, the birth of agriculture has advanced to so great extent, and we started our understanding from the phenotype to genotype level by this Mendelian law, which we have all learned. So after that, the genetic nature has been created during 1952 by Watson and Crick, and which has been the most significant achievement. Then the most significant achievement after identification the genetic material is the Carey Mullis, who has given the PCR machine. And immediately you will find a tremendous increase in the science and technology of the genetic nature and the genetic formulations of the, not only from the plant but from the animal point of view. So 2002 onward, the sequencing era started, and we came to the genome editing and sequencing, next generation sequencing, which is the pioneer or one of the milestone in the field of agriculture and genetics. And now if we see toward the future, what we are seeing, the modified plant, the genome edited plant, which is not with the technology which we were calling it as a transgenic technology, not that technology but the genome editing technology, which will take the future crops of on this earth, which has not been evolved by the process of evolution but through the genome editing. I could see the future is bright for the agriculture scientist and for the agriculture stream.
If we ask Dr. B Kaginalli, if it's the same question, what is the current state of science in your field? What do you predict it tomorrow as per your experience, 30 years experience in your profession?
See, it all started with Einstein formula E is equal to mc squared, which means mass can be converted to energy. Same way, to confirm it, it was supplemented by nuclear explosions and experiments on that, and finally it was exhibited on Hiroshima, Nagasaki. The disastrous effects were seen. And finally, Einstein himself repented for it, having experimented and formulated these nuclear explosions, and how to convert it into human benefit. That was the challenge. See, they took it, then emerged the nuclear reactors, control chain reactions, out of which you could generate power, electric power, and out of that, again further, there were certain isotopes, artificially produced radioisotopes were generated, and they were the fission products also. And further, they were, some of them are created also, activated also, and out of, I mean, from power to again further, say for healthcare, say like nuclear medicine is one of the branches, and non-destructive testing is into engineering, and cancer care is again into healthcare, and further it is to processing of foods by gamma radiation, so that shelf life can be enhanced by 2 to 3 years without compromising on the nutrients and without any chemical additives or poisonous substances. See, the future for food processing or food preservation is going to be a gamma irradiation. See, my colleague himself is also an agriculture scientist. See, being a physicist, I have so many avenues I have gone into. I was into teaching, I was into engineering, and I was into cancer management, and ultimately into industry. I have seen almost all the gamut of nuclear, peaceful uses of nuclear energy, part of nuclear energy. See, in that aspect, see, diagnostic radiation, for diagnostics also, some of the radioisotopes are used. PET-CT and CT, these are all have emerged out of research in physics and computational technology. And further, see, food preservation is a must to cater to the increasing population, and lot of food is being spoiled because of improper handling and storage. See, that can be prevented, and food can be supplied at any remote areas also. See, in this way, nuclear energy for peaceful uses, there is lot of scope for it to go further. See, we need a lot of, huge volume of food to be processed, and lot of facilities are needed. At present, only it is Baba Atomic Research Center which caters to all these requirements. See, for a US population of 25 crores, they have, each state they have reactors, they have research groups in atomic energy, but whereas we have only one national laboratory for this sort of researches. See, further it should, every state should have at least one research reactor to conduct researches and various producing radioisotopes, and there is huge requirement. See, there is a big potential. Being a, basic science person, say, we expect a lot of, there is lacking in our country, there is industry and academic cooperation is lacking. That has, and there are certain, vested interests also in the, upbringing of the nation using scientific methods. See, with this, every state should have a research facility, either by, as per this atomic physics, this thing is concerned, so that all aspects of peaceful uses of nuclear energy can be tapped. See, this is very much untapped till today.
Thank you so much, Kaginalli. So, it is a question to Madhu Sundar sir. In your opinion, how important is R&D in India?
R&D, regardless of a country and regardless of any industry, would be fundamental And your question is is a kind of an offshoot of what the question that you asked to the other two gentlemen in the panel as well. If you step back, and look at the macro factors, for the last 10-15 years, I have been noticing the big countries, the developed world, the economies have not been growing. They're quite evidently there is a recession. Whether the governments care to speak about it or not, for whatever reasons. Why is it important for the developed countries to be thriving? They have the muscle at the moment in terms of money as well as intellectual capability, so they can invest in pure research. And you're seeing the moves very clearly at the moment, where there's a lot of focus of pure science research, and investment in pure science research will be fueling the next cycle of innovation. So looping back to the answer to your question, yes, R&D, even in India can't afford to become a superpower without investing in R&D. Many companies, many institutes have recognized this. A lot of government institutes. When I compare to the way when I was an early professional or when I was a student even, the quality of research has significantly improved as well. So investment in R&D, I think even the government has got its sights in the right direction. There's a lot of investment going on in R&D itself. Specific to my area, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, I think the disruption, you will see cycles of disruption dawning, and cycles of disruption typically fuel the next level of growth for all economies. So what's going to happen in pharmaceuticals is that if I could split healthcare into two parts, we have been more of a reactive kind of healthcare givers. You have a problem with your health, you go to the doctor diagnoses your problem, and then there is a medicine available. The problem space is just whether there is a medicine available or not for your ailment. That's the place where we have all been operating. What's the disruption? The disruption is when you marry healthcare with the capability of data and digital. You're talking about how you as an individual, can generate more and more data points, whereby your caregiver or your healthcare provider can customize or predict by means of reading of genetic material, your predispositions based on your genetic makeup, as to what you're headed for, what kind of health situation you're headed for. So this gives an immense opportunity for both science as well as the healthcare providers to help you advise either on lifestyle changes or prepare for what your future is going to be, and maybe even come up with very, very customized medicines. That's what cell gene therapy is trying to work upon. Right. So this is the directions I think R&D is going to get into. India may not have a India may not have that kind of a wherewithal to invest in those cutting edge, but that's fine. We're never claiming ourselves to be the rich economies. We will be there eventually, maybe 20 years, 30 years down the line. We'll also be cutting edge eventually.
Thank you, Madhu Sundar sir. Sir, when you think about instrumentation, sound instrumentation base is absolutely necessary for a healthy and competitive science. What are your thoughts about this, Marella sir?
Yeah, I could speak for my domain, which is biopharmaceuticals. I'm not in the thick of the biopharmaceutical, but as a technology provider, if I view that, alluding to what my previous speaker said, how does healthcare go to the becomes affordable to the end patient, as Dr. rightly alluded to. At the moment, biotech space, the innovation of biotechnology, like he spoke about cell gene therapy or personalized medicine or monoclonal antibodies. These are the new therapies which are there already in various worlds, including India, to cater to a certain disease, say Alzheimer or arthritis or cervical cancer, things like that. But at the moment, they are staying in a zone of elitist patients, in the sense that it's not really affordable, right? in a country as large as India and the planet as large as it is, the population do not receive the best of the class medicament or the therapies. The impediment is because at the end of the day, science must marry to the socio-economics. Otherwise, science is useless in the sense that it can stay in a pocket but doesn't reach to the general mass. Therefore, I think in context of that, automation, instrumentation are very, very important, paramount, because these are the tools which ensure not only a safer medicine produced, validated, tested through analytical measures, but also intensification happens, because how does one make a drug affordable? There is a nexus between a manufacturer, a technology provider, and the policy maker. So all of them have to converge to make it affordable. Okay, everybody has a role cut out to them; they must play. So speaking again for the technology provider like us or many in the market, we need to provide robust solutions in automation, because the future of biopharma or pharmaceutical production is digitalization. Not because there is an automation it is used, because it ensures repeatability, it inputs better validation, it ensures safety, and it ensures economic manufacturing. When the producer is able to produce economically, he is able to offer a particular drug product at a relatively better price, and then policymakers can catch up and cater to a larger mass of people, or else it remains a rich man's drug product. Therefore, I think the new technologies in instrumentation married with automation, like for example, if I may give an example, like we use bioreactors. They function on several controlled conditions, temperature, pH, there are many varies. So how do you make it better? How do you make it simpler? Many ways. The biology scientists, of course, work upon the organisms to make it better, to give you better viability, better titers, better productivity, so to say. But the automation scientists also must converse with them to provide better tools to them, so that the wastage is not there, or as a particular drug product is in manufacturing, it goes through a cycle of manufacturing, say 30 days. During the period of 30 days, there many things happen. It's biology process. So how does one predict that? How does one see that a particular bioreactor is going to function on the 15th day or 20th day properly or not? There are viable tools now available. So these can be employed for better sense, and that in turn contributes to affordable medicine, and that's the goal of the world. No matter which country, which policy maker, every government would like their citizens to be healthy, right? So therefore, I would underscore that it is very paramount and very important in this space of biopharma. Yeah.
Thank you, Marella sir. Very great inputs from your side. This question to Dr. Mangesh.
I want to interrupt. Actually,
Yeah,
I am
please.
more interested in answering to that R&D question.
Please,
if
you
you
can,
could,
you can,
if you
you
can,
can,
could
please,
spare
please.
just
You
excuse
can,
me.
yeah,
Say in
please.
case of agriculture, if I say agriculture, we all know has started with the civilization, but is India is self-sufficient, or is India is self-sufficient to feed our country or the population? I will just come to 2-3 facts and
Please,
figures. Our population is touching to 150 billion, and we have last year, if we'll see the production and productivity area, and our production figure 315 million tons was our total production, and how much area to produce, how much area we have, our farmers has utilized 115 million hectares had been used. For the mob's sake or for the general audience sake, I would like to bring to the notice that only 2,000 seed industries are being registered in India under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Our population is touching to 150. So 75 lakh, after 75 lakh, one company stands. So how much is the burden over the companies to feed the people? We cannot survive without food. So our R&D, now here the role of the R&D comes. Say if I say 10,000 people and one doctor, it's not a sufficient figure. If I say 5,000 people and one doctor is not sufficient. If I say 100 people and one doctor, the figure is sufficient. The same role the R&D in agriculture has to play. R&D in agriculture has to come up in a big way. One small example, out of 2,000 companies, R&Ds, those who are working on R&D, providing the good seeds to our Indian agriculture or Indian farmers, the minimum turnover coming to the one of the MNCs or small MNCs is nearly 1,000 crore. A small among small companies producing or having the turnover of 2 to 5 crore. So where do we stand? Not only for the research and development taking ahead for the benefit of the farmer, but at the same time we also have to think about to growing our economic positions. So I would say in coming days the people has to more and more emphasis on the development of R&D in order to produce the good quality seed and in order to feed the huge population in India, which is supposed to be touching, which is very difficult to cope up with this food grain production in India. So there is a huge scope.
Thank you, Dr. Mangesh.
And coming
Thank
to
you
your,
so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And coming to your second question, that you said that how best that academy has played the role.
Right.
So I would say academy has always been a backbone to develop the scientific research in India. I would give many examples. You consider IITs. What IITs has given? IITs has given generated the technology. It's an academic institution. Just you Google, you will find IITians are today's the CEO of the most important companies in India. They are the Indians. They are the pioneer. You see, academic is always related with the research, and research will bring out the technology. Technology will goes to the society, and ultimately we are in advancing bringing advancement in our society. So what the IITs did, they had the basic research, they had percolated in the society. Many of our IITians are at a good position. Same time you consider the CSIR. I was talking CSIR, what they did, they are percolating the basic research, not only in pharmaceutical, not only in the chemical industry, but everywhere basic research is required. So our CSIR laboratories are doing that kind of work. CDFD, which is located in Hyderabad, right. Center for DNA fingerprinting and Diagnostic. What sort of research they are doing? They are doing the basic research, not only helping the society in identifying the crimes in the society, but they are in many ways they are helping us.
True.
Coming to the medical sciences, what AIIMS is doing, you see, if I am saying, if any of the, not only from India, from outside countries also people are coming to take the advantage of AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Now AIIMS have been started by the government at every nooks and corners of the states, 29 states and 7 union territories in India. So right. What at the end of the day I would like to bring to the notice of the audience or to the young scientists or young minds, that technology, or in order to have the good equilibrium between the technology and the academia, this is the bridge, the knowledge is the bridge which the institutions or the academia is giving to the society, and so ultimately it's the bridge between the academia and the research industry and technology invention. So these are my opinion on
these. Thank you, Dr. Mangesh. So vibrant idea, so just spoke about that. This is a question to B Kaginalli, sir. In your opinion, which scientific sector should India invest in over the next 25 years?
As you told, food is needed to survive for everybody. In that way, food processing industry needs to be given a maximum support for either preservation or production, processing. See, this needs to be supported in the future, this thing itself.
Yes, sir. Madhu Sundar, sir, what do you think about that? 25 years.
So, I think healthcare will. I mean, I'm being partial to healthcare because I work in that field. Food is a great place to invest, because that's definitely the preventative form for any healthcare issues. You have good nutrition, you definitely can avoid getting into any kind of health issues. There are significant number of diseases that today mankind is affected with, either delayed diagnosis or lack of a solution or a complete solution. So there is I see worldwide there's a life expectancy has been rising. The pandemic has just disturbed that rise by about a couple of years when you look at the average life expectancy of each country globally. So there is still a lot of work to be done on healthcare as well. The government must fund the core drug development and drug discovery process. India on its own will not be able to, the industry on its own will not be able to risk the investments, the size of investments that are required. So coupled with food, I believe healthcare should be an next priority, and that would help. That will enable our country's vision also of healthcare to all as well. You already see preventive measures. For example, I'll just take a couple of minutes longer. Historically, India, when you look at drug sales, till COVID broke out, the acute segment, that is the anti-infectives segment, used to be the largest selling sector of drugs. And we should not be surprised, maybe with the Swachh Bharat mission or with COVID coming in, people being more careful about their personal hygiene as well as being careful in public. We are seeing in the last 3-4 years that sales of anti-infectives have fallen, and cardiovascular segment, that is a chronic segment, we are seeing that sales are on the rise. This is the data. This is for India. Right. So, and if I go with what the visionaries have spoken in various fora, they say airborne diseases and pandemics are going to be the norm. Right. And when you saw COVID happening, there were early warnings. There were other kinds of influenza strains already seen across the world, whether it was a SARS virus or a MERS virus. They were all there in different mutants. I think because of natural evolution of the virus, we had a deadly strain hit the entire world. So the virology is one pathogenic sector that really has not been entirely understood, and we don't have an entire lever on it. Even today, you suffer from a viral fever. There is no medicine really, other than take a paracetamol once in a while to bring your fever under control. You just have to slug it out till you recover. So I believe healthcare is a great place that the government should focus on investing, considering the vast population that we have. Imagine having their entire population becoming productive by being healthy. That's a huge human resources that the country can leverage upon. So my answer is healthcare.
Thank you, Madhu Sundar sir. Sir, in your opinion, when think about how would you relate the current state of Indian science to the global environment? Raju Marella sir.
Okay. If I respond as a citizen of India looking at every science, I am not an expert on the other sciences where the fellow panelists are experts. But generally speaking, I think India is better off investing in good education. Speaking dispassionately, I can say sure healthcare, I will come to that. But I think what the country needs is a very rich pool of knowledge. We have knowledge, some brain drain happened, lots of our panelists have spoke about IITs. For sure they are bright minds, right. But how many bright minds stay in India? We see the moment they pass out of the IIT, they are looking at a flight to US, right? So why is it happening? It's happening because the ecosystem is not very fertile for them to conceive and perpetuate their ideas into contribute back to the country. That's a different policy issue the government should look at. But in my view, good education is still wanted, because I have been working in the biopharma space. I also part of the training endeavors for biopharma, work for an organization which was training the biotechnology students so that they are made available, employable for the industry and then be productive. We found a huge gap because the academic institutes are not well funded. Some elitist institutes are surely funded, but far more to be done there. So therefore, India must look at quality education, because education is the basis for any country to be good. Okay, US is great because they have invested in education. Even in India, you see some states have invested in education where they are today. Some states have not invested in education where they are today. How they are grappling with the problem. So therefore, it's sectoral that in the next 25 years, the country to move forward, I would prioritize education. India is an agro-based country, right? Therefore, I think from a business sense, one must work around one's core competencies. Our core competency, fundamentally, historically, has been agriculture. Are we great in agriculture? Probably not. Are we productive as much as in many countries? I don't know. The agriculture scientist in the panel probably will explain. But I believe that our productivity is far below on a measure of global compared to many countries. There must be reasons. Therefore, good agriculture research, good agriculture investment, agriculture universities, plethora of CSIR laboratories should continue to be funded, better funded, so that they fuel the agriculture. Because Indian economy, regardless of what, will remain agro-based for a long time to go. Of course, agriculture value chain must improve, agriculture value additions will happen, as the other panelists spoke about storing the food products. Because I think we waste food products through rodents or through wastage of decay, etc., which probably can feed Sri Lanka, right? So much of food we waste. So how that is prevented? Through measures like this. So that agri and food industry based food. Then coming to the sector where I work with, healthcare and biopharma, surely the way to go, because economically it's going in a good growth and a trajectory of 18-20% growth. So good for our economy. India is a pharmacy for the world, and India can be a biopharmacy for the world, right? You can provide better vaccines. The pandemic has taught us a lesson, and we picked up very well. At India is a country, we are all proud that we could produce a vaccine in 9 months. It normally takes 9 years, right? So the scientists have put their shoulders together and produced. So take that learning and invest into that in a robust manner. The reason is we are now seeing, I spoke about in my previous comment to your question, that healthcare, modern therapies are not reaching the masses. Prohibitively expensive. So there must be ways and means that it must be curtailed. And how does it happen? Biopharma is not a predictable business, right? It's an investment. It's very capital intensive, very long term, and one is unsure whether the outcome is going to be positive. Therefore, here is the state's role to fund them well. And I think, again, speaking as an Indian, I think the policy makers grapple with the Union of India. There are 29 states, so each one should get some money, and therefore the big packet gets vanished in a little bit of funding, and it gets into thin air. We have biotech parks everywhere. They are more of a real estate than really biotech parks. No disrespect meant, but this is the story of India. So I think government policy should be more frugal, more focused, see which sector, which state is vibrant to take this industry forward, make it economically viable, and make India powerful. How do we become 25 trillion economy? That's a vision, but the vision must be backed with fundamental works on the ground. I think healthcare investment must happen. Pharma has shown a way. Somebody has taken the lead, and they have really gone ahead to be a great. But biotech is still a lot to catch up. They are at the moment saddled with difficulties of funding, difficulties of early startup, because the startup materials for biotechnology are very expensive. I am probably one of those people who charge them more money. So how the technology providers should play a role, and how can after all, every technology provider is a business person at the end of the day. So we are not a Red Cross to give it out free, right? We charge it. The only way technology providers become more cheaper, or if I may say economical, is on the scale of economy, that we have more things to offer to the world, and therefore you get your money. So I think we as a technology provider industry, we look into that, to various processes of intensifying the process itself, the equipment employability itself. Thereby, one doesn't have to spend higher footprint of money and be able to still produce a good product. So that's an area, but it's a combination of many factors. So healthcare is an area important. So for me, the education, agriculture, productivity, and pharma already done well, but pharma bio is still to catch up. These are the three drivers or growth engines for India to become where it should belong to.
Thank you so much, Raju Marella. You spoke well on the growth engines. My question is to please.
Because it's my domain. I am very much interested. You asked Daksab that Saab, what are the technologies which will take ahead to the society and not to the society? I would say to the India. You see, if broadly speaking, if I classify, if you permits with your permission, 1 to 2 sentences. If we broadly classify our society, we are seeing 4 to 5 major sectors in India. First one is the healthcare, agriculture, chemical sector, IT sector, and biotechnology sector. These are the broadly speaking sectors. I won't go into the details. So when I say what are the technologies which will take, if you will see the global scenario, what global scenario says, where we are going up, how this sector will take ahead, one step ahead to the at global level. First one is the artificial intelligence, robotics. Already the research has been started. Most of the surgeries performed in the health sector are through the robotics. Wherever robotics come, people will run, not by the manual sector. So coming time or coming era is a era of artificial intelligence or the robotics. So even in agriculture, you see farmers started spraying with the drones, artificial intelligence, sitting at one place. I can tell you, to spray 1 acre with the insecticide, a farmer needs nearly 8 hours. Manual of spraying. With artificial intelligence, with drone, 7 to 8 minutes it will take to spray 1 acre of its farm. So where we are heading? So robotics and artificial intelligence, no doubt. Coming to the big data, I would just emphasize here, or I would put up one list. Why this Facebook and this Twitter, they are going ahead? How they are making billions and billions only through this big data? Big science, numerical science, this numerical data will have very much good advantage by selling itself. If you are very good, we are using the apps. The apps will tell you what sort of things, or just by clicking your name will come whether the person has feed or not. It is through the data science. Third technology, I will say next generation sequencing. Most of you people may not be knowing, but after the sequencing, just you name the disease, the cure or the medicine is available in healthcare. It is due to the fact that we know the sequence data of your human body. Just one example I will share here. I was talking with one of the scientists from the Center for DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostic. He was saying before the born of the baby, with the samples collected from the mother's womb, we can predict whether what sort of disease the coming baby or the future baby will be having, and how best we can solve it. No doubt in the womb itself we will be knowing all those things. So sequencing I could consider, and not only with that, after the birth of the baby, just you can have the sequence data, what part of the sequence, what part of the chromosome, what part of the gene the defect is that, and we can rectify by post medication treatment. So and next one is genomics. Genomics means whatever the sequence data is available, genomics can solve the program. That is the utilization of that sequencing data. Either it came from the plants or it came from the animals, genomics techniques will help. And gene editing means, say one defect is identified, just to handle that particular thing with them, in case of human beings with the medicine, and in case of these plants with just to cut down that data or cut down that particular part of the gene, and then again link up that good part of the gene, so that it could this gene editing. And the last thing, the technology which will certainly take India to the society and to each and every individual from the India is the space technology. Because in coming days, those whosoever are having say we are battling with the climatic conditions, climatic battles, how the climatic data will be generated, space technology. I was just going through one of the articles, somebody has the space rocket technology at Hyderabad center, like Hyderabad. Already somebody from that, the owner of the Twitter is making, I won't take the name, but he is making millions and millions of rupees with the space technology. We were not having the technology that how the rocket will come again to the same place from where it has been, once it has been gone, it has been vanished. This was what the technology says earlier, but now we do have the very good technology. So these are the 5-6 things which will not only take, or which will not only take society, the common person, but India, certainly India will be recognized in coming days with this technology at global platform, and this will be certainly think for the new generation. These are the areas where one can start from the beginning itself, their studies, their research, and they can start getting more and more knowledge of this technology, so as to again move further one step ahead in the society or in the for the future. These I can say.
Thank you, Dr. Mangesh.
Sir, Madhu Sundar ji, I think this question is for you. Since you are from the pharma industry, see, always the research activity of drug development or drug discovery, what so called, whatever we say that, every time the pharma companies are developing new drugs, definitely no drug is there existing without any side effects, whether it is a cardio or neuro or whatever it is there. Every time whenever you go through the Google and all, what is the side effects of this drug, means somewhere or other some side effects are there. Why drug companies are not in a position to develop without any side effects?
So, very good question. First of all, it is the responsibility of every drug manufacturer or a drug innovator to study the clinical effects of any drug administered and declare upfront. It is very important that first of all we should all appreciate the fact that governments across the world have all made sure that the patient is well educated or when a drug is being taken. So when a drug is approved, the patient has an information in the patient information leaflet that this is the therapeutic category of the drug, this is what it will do, this is the way it will work, and in the process it also produces this level of side effects. Now remember, when you, if for those of you who have read the patient information leaflet, the percentage of side effects, okay, as a statistical as a statistical reference to the clinical trials, the number of volunteers are taken for clinical trials, it ought to be smaller. It ought to be minuscule as compared to what benefit it gives. So far in the small molecules, why even in the biotechnology space with monoclonal antibodies as well, we have not been able to come up with a product which will be free from any side effects. This will continue to be the dream that we will chase for. Part reasons is so far is that, I mean, we assume part reasons is because it is a one size fits all kind of a thing. I have a condition and I have a drug for it, but I have an entire population which is having the same drug. Now each person's physiology might be subtly different from the other, and there may be predisposed factors also existing which may also interfere with the efficacy as well as the safety of the drug as well. It is the responsibility of the clinician of the doctor to study those interplay factors and advise the most optimal drug. I would not say the right drug, the optimal drug. Today worldwide, this is where we stand. If you see the way the drug industry has developed, earlier it was the small molecules, now the large molecules are coming. Today we are talking about cell gene therapy as the one, as the solution to the question that you just asked, that can I have a drug which is customized to my condition that may not be suitable to the person sitting next to me, and that person would need something very specific to that. The challenge for that would be right from the point of characterizing the consumer's genetic information, and right up to the point of delivering that medication which will work. It has to be very short. It cannot go into years like the way it is today, and all the while being safe, efficacious, and without any quality issues as well. So that is the task at hand. So if one has to have a drug which is free of side effects, I don't think we are in a let's for a minute, not for a moment, let's say that we have understood human physiology well. There is still, for example, a lot of psychiatric disorders, a lot of neurological disorders that we don't have a proper drug for. Many inflammations, many kinds of cancers that we don't have a proper solutions for. So we live in this state today, that we have not understood the human physiology well before we deliver a solution. To go to a state where we have no side effects is, I think, pretty much a stretch at the moment. All health authorities, they typically do a risk evaluated approval process. They go to a risk evaluation and mitigation systems program. That is the program that health authorities follow. The innovator is supposed to upfront produce the clinical data saying that this is the effects, this is the efficacy, these are the side effects, and then a risk benefit analysis is done and the drug is approved. No, not really. I have seen a few biosimilars and they're not free from, we do.
It's a risk benefit trade off at the end of the day.
Everything is
unless something is highly personalized, for which we
assume is the answer to your question, but I don't think so.
Even
yet.
that can prop up some challenges.
Thank you.